Hello, and thank you for watching this January 4th weather update, brought to you by Agrible, the makers of Morning Farm Report. My name is Eric Snodgrass, and I'm a senior atmospheric scientist and co-founder of Agrible. Let's begin this week by looking at the last 2 weeks of precipitation. This map shows the percent of normal precipitation for that time period, and let's begin our analysis out west. One big change in the weather patterns of the last 2 weeks has been the redirection of the jet stream across the Pacific Ocean. This has shut down the persistent flow of moisture to the Pacific Northwest, which has returned them to near normal precipitation amounts after a very wet start to their winter. Moving east, I'm sure your eye is drawn to the large region in the central United States and southeastern U.S. where widespread flooding is currently occurring. Repeated low-pressure systems have brought near-record levels of moisture from the Gulf of Mexico into the eastern half of the United States. Most of this has fallen as rain, and some locations, which have received over 600% of normal rainfall for this time period, have recorded more than 10 inches of rain in the last 2 weeks. Standing water is icing up into huge ice rinks into fields located in the northern part of this flooded area. Most of the precipitation is funneling into the tributaries that feed the Mississippi and Ohio rivers. This river system drains 40% of the area of the United States, and parts of this river are flooding. This graph shows the flood stage for the Mississippi River near Cape Girardeau, Missouri. A new record has been set for the height of the floodwaters in this city, and as a consequence, levees are failing and farmland is flooding. Numerous towns along the mid-Mississippi River have been inundated with water, and it will take some time to drain away given the state of the Mississippi River. Here is a look at the Mississippi River flood stages and crests in Tennessee, Arkansas, and Mississippi. At each station listed here, the river crest, which is expected later this week, is well past flood stage. Thankfully, the last 5 days have been dry along this region. To put this all in perspective, here are 2 images from the MODIS satellite, showing what the river looked like on December 19th compared to January 1st. The dark regions in the right image indicate where the river is swollen or is overrunning its levees. This picture was taken from Illinois looking at the arch in St. Louis. Notice how the steps are partially covered. Chris Warren from the Weather Channel put this flooding in pretty simple terms. Every 90 seconds, enough water passes in front of the arch to fill Busch Stadium. That's 6.7 million gallons per second. So, with the current El Nino reaching its peak, the weather patterns have adjusted to a more typical flow for a strong El Nino event. That is one where the southern states, from California through Florida, expect a lot of rain, while the northern states dry out a bit. You are watching the accumulation of precipitation through next Saturday morning. Notice how California and Florida will be quite wet to start the week. Coastal regions in California may receive greater than 3 inches of rain this week. Watch this region closely given the extreme drought that is currently in place in the southwestern United States. But by the end of the week, the drier period that the central United States has had since the most recent flood event is interrupted by the rains of another low-pressure system. Current forecasts are for this system to lift out of the panhandles of Texas and Oklahoma and head toward Wisconsin. This track brings more rain to the central United States with snow for the northern plains. We can see as I rock this forecast graphic back and forth the track of the low and the timing of the precipitation. By Thursday, widespread rain passes over regions we just focus on as we discuss the current flood. Thankfully, rain amounts are not forecast to be as high as they have been recently. However, 4 to 8 inches of snow are forecast to fall from Nebraska through parts of South Dakota, Iowa, Minnesota, and northern Wisconsin starting on Wednesday and finishing by the weekend. There is still some uncertainty in the track of this low, but models have consistently called for this system to produce rain south of this heavier snow band, which I just identified. The bigger story may be the temperatures. The first few days of the new year have seen a return to normal seasonal temperatures for this time of year in the central United States. This week we expect near normal temperatures to start the week, but a gradual warming through the end of the week. Temperature anomalies ahead of the low-pressure system that we just talked about reach 10 degrees above average for a large section of the central United States and Midwest. But after this system passes, much colder air funnels into the United States as a trough digs into the eastern two-thirds of the country. This graph shows the temperature forecast using 21 different model simulation for Agrible's headquarters in Champaign, Illinois. After the slight warm-up to finish this week, temperatures fall back into the normal range and potentially much cooler than normal as we approach mid-January. Here is the 8 to 14-day forecast for temperatures. With cooler air moving in for mid-January, we will be watching closely for the potential for some snow in the Midwest. Right now, we are not forecasting any major events, but at least the colder air is getting in place should a low-pressure system track through this region. We'll keep a close eye on this for you. Lastly, I want to talk about Brazil. It's been a few weeks since we've checked in on Brazil, given all the unsettled weather we've had in the United States. The same story we have shared for the last 2 months continues. Drier and hotter than average conditions persist in the northern growing regions near Mato Grosso, while wetter than average conditions are common through much of the southern growing regions, like Paraná. One big difference is that in the last 20 days, a few heavier rainfall events have pushed through Mato Grosso, which have helped. Essentially, the crop in Mato Grosso is not ideal, and on the whole, yields will be down slightly compared to average. But it appears as though the other growing regions farther south will pick up the slack. The precipitation forecast for the next 2 weeks looks to provide plenty of rain to all soybean growing regions in Brazil. Well, as always, we at Agrible bring you the latest and best weather forecast information through our morning farm report so that you can efficiently plan your operations. We thank you for your attention and hope you look forward to our next weather video update. Thank you, and we hope you have a great start to the new year.